Hey guys, Uncle Ray. Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. I don't always tell you what you want to hear, but I tell you what you need to hear to make an informed decision. And I'm here to tell you, you need to hear me out when it comes to all the hype with BRICS nations, China, Russia, and the dollar losing its world dominant status. Because guys, I'm here to tell you, the truth and reality, it just doesn't sell. If I was wanting to pump my channel, I'd jump on that bandwagon because everyone loves to hear the drama and the hype. And it goes around and round where all the people that don't do their research, they only do their one-sided research, they sound like they know what they're talking about. But see, they're biased or they have an agenda. My only agenda is to give you as much information as I can from both sides of the equation and straight from the source when I can. Now, I'm going to dive into some bullet points that I can speak to because a long time ago I worked for Bear Stearns, right? It's a brokerage house like JP Morgan. And then after that, I was a options trader, options and futures trader. I traded all the commodity markets, coffee, sugar, cocoa, oil and gas, and gold and silver, foreign currencies. And I'm very in touch with how OPEC works. And I've been following them for many, many years. So I'm here to tell you that you need to take a look at the most powerful country in the world's roadmap. Because I'll give you the fact that BRICS has a game plan. And they may try to implement a digital dollar or a CDBC or a stable coin or whatever you want to call it, backed by gold or backed by a group of commodities or backed by their countries, whatever. I'll give you all that. They got a game plan. Well, what's the United States government's game plan to stop that and not let it happen? That's what we're going to dive into. And just hear me out, and then you'll have the information you need to have a better understanding. And honestly, I think a lot of that FUD is going to go away once you get both sides of the equation. Because guys, I know right now the United States is extremely weak, and I find it disgusting of how weak the world has, America has become, and how fragile our leadership is, and how the world is literally taking advantage of us right now. But we got an election coming up, guys. So I truly believe that it's not going to play out like the BRICS nations think about it. But a lot of it is just based in fact and reality. So I'm going to throw some bullet points out at you. Do with this information as you will, but you should see things a little different when you get the other side of the equation. Let's get into it. The first thing, most people don't understand that most currencies are pegged to the US dollar. And if most countries unpeg, their currency is going to fall apart. That being said, the Chinese yuan is pegged to the US dollar. And if it unpegged, well, it would get probably extremely strong, and that would crash the Chinese economy. Well, how do I know that? Well, just like America is a consumer-based economy, China is a producer-based economy. Why do America and a lot of the rest of the world buy so many products from China? Because China sells extremely cheap products compared to the dollar. And if anyone ever studied the history of China and their roadmap of how they devalue their currency to keep it low at the expense of their citizens, well, you would understand the fact that they're not going to make their dollar, the Chinese yuan, stronger. They understand that. Now, that being said, if they happen to go that route, we could easily put tariffs on their country and we not allow exports out of their country. And then all those U.S. companies that are over in China and do a lot of work around the world, they would come home, right? So that's not going to happen. China doesn't want that to happen. Now, what else? Well, we owe China an immense amount of money, and China understands that we can't pay them back and probably never will. But you got to keep the relationship going. And they definitely understand that if the US dollar is not the world currency, well, they just lost their biggest customer, and we will never pay them. We couldn't even try to make their payments if we're not the dominant currency and we can't print money. So that's a lose-lose, and China is not going to allow that to happen. Now, granted, BRICS and China, they're trying to push the envelope to do things that matter the most to them or that can help them, but they're not going to change the infrastructure that supports everything that they do. They're just not going to do it. Now, let's talk about the petrodollar, because that's really the most important product in the world. Well, we basically have an agreement with OPEC. See, guys, they can talk all this talk they want, but the world is political, and most people don't understand how everything works, including me. But I have a little bit deeper knowledge than a lot of people from my background, but I know this to be true. The reason we have the petrodollar for the most part is because the world needs a dominant currency that is stable. Well, America's about the only stable country out there that could support a currency. You're going to let a communist country back your money and do cross-border payments that way? I'm not. But let's think about something, guys. OPEC made that agreement, and we made that agreement with OPEC to not flood the world with oil. So we made the agreement with OPEC and all those rich oil companies around the world. We said, we'll let you pump all the oil you want. And for the most part, we will only compete on this level. But you got to settle in the petrodollar. They said, you got it. Because here's the reality that no one ever talks about, especially in the ESG climate world that we live in. America has more oil than 95% of all the countries out there. I haven't looked up the percentages in a long time. But guys, we've got oil in the Gulf of Mexico. We've got like literally 1,000 years of oil in North Dakota. We can do fracking. We can finish that Alaskan pipeline. Guys, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of years of oil supply, more than we really would ever need, because we could use different technologies, which is coming on right now. But here's the point. If they break that agreement with us, it would take one phone call. And granted, the leaders in the White House right now probably wouldn't make that phone call. But we have an election coming up, and I'm confident things are going to change. And I'm not getting political, but here's how that phone call would go. It would say, you are breaking your treaty. You're not settling that oil like we agreed to. So what we're going to do is open the floodgates. And we're going to put tariffs on all the oil producing countries that are affiliated with OPEC that's not settling in dollars. And we're not going to buy any of your oil. Well, guys, we're pretty much the #1 oil consumer for most countries around the world. They don't want to lose their biggest customer. And that's part one. Part two is, well, now that you've done that, we're going to go ahead and not only compete with you, because we literally have unlimited supply. Once we get geared up, which would take a couple of years, we're going to flood the market. Heck, we may give it to a lot of countries, just give it away just to make your countries poor. That's the way that would work. Now, let's talk about the IMF. Well, the IMF is a racket, guys. It is literally like a cartel. I don't like it, but this is the way the world works. The IMF basically loans countries money and get them where they can't pay it back, and then they own us, or we own them, just like China has done to Hollywood and half the sports franchises out there. Now, we pay, and I haven't looked at the percentage, but I know from last time I looked at the IMF, we make up by far the bulk of that. Like 35% of the funding comes from America, if not more. That's compared to the rest of the world. So we're funding 35%, billions of dollars, and the rest of the world throwing in their little 0.5%, 5%, 2%, right? Now, let's talk about the UN. Look at all the amount of money that America puts into the UN. Again, we're the lion's share. When there's a tragedy somewhere in the world, whether that's a hurricane or earthquake, guess who funds that the most? The United States. Just like right now what's going on in the war. Who's funding it? The United States. Right? So we can hold that over their head. Not proud of it? That's the way it works. But when we pull our money out of the IMF and the UN, they're going to start having different thoughts about where they're going to settle anything. That being said, one of the newscasters talked about, all this hype that we're talking about, and someone sent it to me, and it was like the Good Morning Show in literally like Pakistan, and it caught me off guard. I was like, wow, this is where all that's coming from, and it is out there. But then she interviewed a professor at one of the major universities, and she wanted to get his take, which, hey, I like that, a little bit of balance. Well, here's basically what he said. He said, let's start with the fact of that like 68% of all countries' reserves around the world have the dollar basically in their reserves. 68% of all their money is in United States dollar. Now, he said 90% or higher of all transactions in the world settle in the U.S. dollar. Think about where we're starting from. So yes, you can move billions of dollars from Brazil to China, from Russia, whatever. But guys, look at the dominance. We're not talking about just 25% or 10% dominance. Guys, we are talking about massive dominance. Now, China is pegged to the U.S. dollar, like I said. Well, most countries, if they unpeg, they're not going to be able to print enough money to survive. Well, who are they going to come running to? They're going to come running to the U.S., and we're going to cut them off. That's going to straighten them out quick. Now, think about this, guys. And then I'm going to stop, because I could go on for hours and hours and hours. I want you to think about this. Look at how crazy the world would be. Think about how crazy the world would be if America didn't protect other countries. Guys, our military costs a lot of money. We need that reserve currency and that ability to print money to protect the world. What do you think would happen if China and Russia, for example, knew that we didn't have the military to stop China from invading Taiwan, or to stop Russia in their tracks if we chose to? Right? They would just start invading, because if we're not going to do anything, most countries can't protect themselves against China and Russia. That's just a fact of life. So whether it's Mexico or Costa Rica, any of the Latin countries, who do you think protects them, guys? We do, the United States. Now, I'm not harping on that and getting on my high horse. These are just facts. This is the other side of the equation. Now, this is going to sound extremely negative, but I truly believe that America would start World War III before we lost the dollar as the world's currency. I truly believe. And before we lost the Petro dollar. That being said, let's say that BRICS somehow, some way creates a digital dollar that is backed by BRICS or backed by gold, or a stable coin backed by gold, or whatever, how they want to set that up. I want you to think about it. You're going to transfer your money into it. Would you put your money into a stable coin backed by communist countries? I'm not. And even if they do that, and even if you would use it, how long do you think it would take? How long would it take for that technology to become trustworthy? Not even by who it's backed or what it's backed from. How long until you think a big tanker can show up in one part of the world and they owe $500 million and they just wire that money? They do a cross-border payment in the new technology of the BRICS stablecoin or whatever. It's not that they might not trust the backing, it's the technology. Is it going to get hacked? How long? Guys, it's taken 14 years before people, and they're still not using Bitcoin for that kind of money. How long do you think it would be? 15, 20 years? So look, guys, I'm here to tell you, America is not going to lose that anytime soon. I don't care what their roadmap is. America has a roadmap. And guys, America is the world leader for a reason, and we need that. So I'm here to tell you, I still have confidence in America. I think a lot's going to change in the next election, and we probably have a lot of damage going to happen throughout the world, in the global economy, definitely in the U.S. economy, but things are going to turn around, and I truly believe, and I know America's weak, and it has literally broke my heart to see America go down and get abused and taken advantage of, but I truly believe that things are going to turn around, whether it's 6 months from now or 3 or 4 years from now, but I truly believe we're going to see some things line up. Hear me out and I'll let you go. We're going to see new leadership, strong leadership in America. We are going to get regulation in the crypto markets. We are going to lead this technology. We are going to get a spot Bitcoin. The Fed will pivot, and the U.S. economy is going to turn around and start taking names and kicking tail. And when all that lines up, I don't know when, that is the bull run that is just going to change people's lives, probably the lives of people watching this, if you're going about things the right way. I truly believe that, guys. I don't know when it's going to happen, but when it does, that bull run right there is liable to last 7 to 15 years, just like it lasted in real estate from 2008 until basically now. It can run and run and run, and the world is going to change immensely. There's no doubt about it, but America is going to lead that charge. There's a reason America is the powerhouse that it is, and I still have confidence in this country, and I know it's ugly. A lot of it's embarrassing, but America will get a grip, and we got a long reality check coming, and I have confidence that, guys, we're going to get back on track. So either way, guys, you don't have to listen to me, but I urge you to do some research on what America would do. We get that BRICS has this great plan, but so does America, guys. So does America, and I'm going to go with the smart money, the big money, the powerful money, because I hate to tell you, this American cartel, guys, there's nothing they wouldn't do to keep power. I truly believe that. All right, guys, that's all I got. If you want to work one-on-one and you want to get some help trying to get a roadmap for the next bull run and try to have an understanding that so you don't get wrapped up in the FUD and the FOMO, and that you learn how to maybe dollar cost average in or out, or how to take profits, or whatever game plan you need. If you need some help putting that all together, I'm working with people one-on-one. It's $250. You'll have 3 to 5 sessions, whether it's phone calls or over Zoom. and we'll get you straightened away, guys, because you got to have a game plan. Just like BRICS has a plan, America has a plan. What's your plan to capitalize on the biggest bull market, the biggest opportunity in history? What's your plan, guys? I'm here for you. If you need it, let me know. Reach out. I'll leave a link down below and I'll pin it as well. It's my email. That being said, that's all I got. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Hit that like button. Come back and be part of this community. And remember, none of this is financial advice. But guys, no matter what, I may not always be right, but I'll be right here for you, and we will figure it out. Because you got to have good information, and you got to have both sides of the equation. Take care, guys.